The Vixen Dreams, She's a Young Girl, Pantomime 2 from The Cunning Little Vixen by Janacek, and we heard the Vienna Philharmonic Orchestra conducted by Charles McKerris. That's the recording with Lucia Pop as the Vixen. Well, finally, Adam Foles, you're going to have to introduce me to this music because I'm ashamed to say I don't know it.
Well, it's not terribly well known. This is a piece from another genre altogether. I thought I would add some variety and have some pop music, for want of a better name. And very hard not to choose Bob Dylan or Radiohead or David Bowie and various other people that I listen to a lot. But this is a band called Neutral Milk Hotel. One reason why they're not terribly well known is that they only produced 2 albums, one very good album and one really remarkable album, which I think this is. They're a group of musicians from the south of America called the Elephant Collective, and they configured variously under different leaders depending on whose project it was. And this album and Neutral Milk Hotel were the project of a guy called Jeff Mangum, who sort of subsequently disappeared rather. I've seen written about as sort of the Salinger of indie music. He's become somewhat a messianic figure for his more zealous fans, made all the more intense by his absence from the scene. But this album is a really remarkably heartfelt and rich and complicated thing, a large part of which comes out of his reading of Anne Frank's diary, and it's rather sort of helpless and impassioned identification with her story and her plight, but also mixed in with this rather bizarre kind of fairground surrealism, which is a bit like the kind you might encounter in sort of early David Lynch. They're sort of two-headed boys in jars and things. Somehow it all makes sense and is all coherent, and as an album I think works incredibly well. Each song is a development and it absolutely hangs together as a piece. I think his voice is a very convincing instrument. It doesn't share the virtues of the other things that we've been listening to, with this great kind of expertise and aerobatic skill in deciding exactly where it wants to land. But the limitations of his voice are rather what gives it its emotional power. You feel him all the time struggling with something that he very urgently wants to communicate, and kind of up against the limits of his capacity to communicate it.
Ghost, ghost, I know you live within me. Feel as you fly in thunder clouds above the city, into one that I love. With all that was left within me until we tore into now wings and rings, and there's so many waiting here for you. She was born in a bottle rocket, 1929, with wings that ring around a socket right between her spine, all drenched in milk and holy water pouring from the sky. I know that she will live forever, she won't ever die. She knows she'll never be afraid to watch the morning paper blow
I think that was your Antichrist that you served up.
Perhaps for you. No, actually, that listening.
No, but
to
I meant
this
that.
time-
I mean, as you said, it's very interesting to hear something that was raw,
Yes.
as opposed to something that was
Very
very
cooked.
finely honed. That's really what I meant.
Yes, absolutely. Although listening to it at this time, I was much more aware of the continuity with my other choices in that very colourful and characterful instrumentation that you have there with the brass instruments and theremin as well. It's very distinctive and
surreal.
and bright. Yes, absolutely. So it does partake of some of the same kind of modernist excitements, although to different ends and with different means.
That was Ghost from the album In the Aeroplane Over the Sea by Neutral Milk Hotel.